வீடியோ ஆன் பண்றது ஸ்டாஃப் பேசுறவரு
மணி பேசுடி போடி மூடி ஆன் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காரு. போடி வட்டாரு எங்க வந்திருக்காரு? இருக்குதா எல்லாரும் வந்தாரு. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Sir,
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, kindly wait for a few more minutes. Participants will be joining.
No problem. Absolutely fine.
யாரு சவுண்ட் அவ்வளோ இருக்கு? ஹரி அங்க ஆஃப் பண்ண சவுண்ட். ஜாஸ்மின் அக்கா ஜாயின் ஆனாங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட். அவங்களே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இங்க இல்ல. அடி காலை. ஜாஸ்மின் இதாடி இங்க போனா இதாயிடும். ஹரி ஃபோன் தா. ஏ ஹரி ஃபோன் தாடா. ஜாஸ்மின் அக்கா என்ன சேவ் பண்ணிருக்க?
மல்லிகை ஜாஸ்தி தான் இருக்கு. எப்படி இருக்கு? சீரியஸா அப்படியே
கலாய்ச்சியா? ஏய் அக்கா மெசேஜ் பாத்துறாங்க. அக்கா போஸ்டர் பார்த்து நாளைக்கு நினைச்சிட்டாங்க. அதான் காது மே 5 தப்பா போஸ்டர்ல போட்டுருக்கு. இன்னைக்குதான் மீட்டு. அச்சோ எல்லாரும் ஜாயின் ஆயிட்டாங்க ஸ்பீக்கர்லாம். நீங்க வந்துருங்க. ஓகேக்கா. அப்ப சொல்றாங்க நான் ஸ்பீக்கருக்கு மெயில் கூட மே 5 தான் அனுப்பிச்சேன் அப்படின்ட்டு. இதெல்லாம் தேவையில்லை. அவர் லிங்க்டின் எல்லாம் போட்டிருக்காரு போலடில. இவன் வேற வாட்ஸ்அப்க்கு ஒரு லாக் வேற வச்சிருக்கான். ஏய் வாட்ஸ்அப்க்கு உனக்குலாம் எதுக்குடா லாக் தேவை? நம்ம பச்சே அருணியக்காவும் ஜாயின் ஆகல.
அதே பின் இருக்கு. இதே பின் போட முடியும்.
என்ன எங்களுக்கு என்ன தெரியும் பின் என்னன்ட்டு? ஏய் என்ன பின்? உன் பாஸ்வேர்ட் அது ஓயோ மறந்துட்டே. இது
வேணும்னே தப்பா போடுது.
சாவடி பயிரா போட்டங்க. போலாம் வேலை பார்த்துட்டு போலாம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லைன் சொல்லிடுவா.
ஏய் குணால்
Good afternoon, participants. Kindly wait for a few more minutes. The webinar will begin shortly. Dear participants, at the conclusion of the session, a feedback form will be posted in the chat box. Please fill it out before you leave to receive your e-certificates. Participants are asked to mute both your audio and video to ensure a smooth webinar. And sir, this session will be recorded and it will be uploaded in IEEE TV. With your permission, can we start recording, sir?
Yes, sure. Sorry, I was in mute.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Thank you for your presence and for spending your precious time to attend the session, which is awaiting you to give the knowledge which you would not mind taking back to yourself. Now, let's start the session.
Hey Malini, are you familiar with IEEE St. Joseph's College of Engineering student?
Yes, Jasmine, I am quite acquainted with them. I follow their activities closely on social media and they consistently hosting multiple events. Today they are conducting a session called ERUDITE Season 9.
Wow, that's interesting. By the way, what is
Well, erudite refers to someone who is highly educated, cultured, and knowledgeable across various subjects. In this context, it implies that the speaker for today's session is exceptionally well versed.
that's enlightening? So, what's on the agenda for this?
It's part of their Season 9 series, an international webinar series that has already seen 8 successful seasons. They bring together keynote speakers from all around the world to share their insights and expertise.
That sounds like a fantastic initiative. Who's the speaker?
Today's speaker is Dr. Rick Das, currently serving as a principal consultant at PwC India with an impressive background in both industry and academia. Dr. Das has gained over 90 years of experience in industrial and academic research, making him a distinguished thought leader in the field. Dr. Das has undertaken collaborative research in multiple domains, leading to substantial contributions in the field. He has filed and published two Indian patents consecutively in the year 2018 and 2019, showcasing his commitment to pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Please join in welcoming Dr. Rick Das.
Alright, let's join the session. I welcome you all to the exciting webinar event hosted by IEEE Student Branch Chapter of St. Joseph's College of Engineering, ERUDITE'24, an international webinar series, Season 9. Let's start with the speaker's welcome note. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to introduce Dr. Rick Das with great pleasure that I welcome you to our event. Dr. Rick Das is currently serving as the Principal Consultant AML at PwC India. With an impressive background in both industry and academia, Dr. Das has gained over 19 years of experience in industrial and academic research, making him a distinguished thought leader in the field. Prior to his current role, Dr. Das excelled as a lead software engineer AML at Siemens Technology and Services Private Limited, where he made significant contributions to cutting-edge projects. His expertise and innovative mindset led him to be recognized as an influential figure in the industry. Dr. Das' contributions to the field have been recognized internationally. He has been conferred with the prestigious title of ACM Distinguished Speaker by the Association for Computing Machinery in New York, USA, consecutively for 2 tenures. In addition, he holds the esteemed position of a member of the International Advisory Committee of AI Forum in the United Kingdom. Further, highlighting his global recognition, throughout his career, Dr. Das has actively engaged in research and academics, universities and institutes in India. Some of the notable institutions he has been associated with include Xavier's Institute of Social Service, National Monji Institute of Management Studies, deemed to be university, Globes Business School, and Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad University of Technology. Among others, his dedication to advancing knowledge and nurturing future talent in the field of is evident through his extensive experience of over 17 years in the research and academia. As an ardent advocate of innovation, Dr. Das has undertaken collaborative research in multiple domains, leading to substantial contributions in the field. He has filed and published 2 Indian patents consequently in the years 2018 and 2019, showcasing his commitment to pursuing the boundaries of knowledge. Dr. Das portfolio of over 80 international publications with reputed publishers and has authored 10 books on the applications of AI/ML and computer vision. Recognized as an authority in his field, Dr. Das has chaired numerous sessions in international conferences on machine learning and has served as a resource person and invited speaker in multiple events, leveraging his expertise to contribute to the disseminating of knowledge and advancement in the field. Thank you for accepting our invitation, sir. Now the session is entirely yours.
Thank you very much for this wonderful introduction. And, I am really honored and express my gratitude to the management of St. Joseph Engineering College as well as to the IEEE student branch here who has arranged such wonderfully forward-looking webinar. And it is really an opportunity to interact with like-minded people as well as the students to understand their current perspectives in terms of, let's say, whatever is going on in current academia or academic space. Simultaneously, it will be a good idea to also share that certain things which are going on in the industry under current context. So I will be starting my delivery, and let's say it should be, I will be let's say try to put this as an interactive kind of let's say journey where we will be interacting with one another, and that should be a good idea if we can interact with one another, so that we can also understand that whether whatever we are discussing, how far they are in line to the thought process of the current generation. So now what I will be doing is that I will be making this full screen. While I am making this full screen, I won't be able to see the questions or something which are coming up. So once I finish the session, we can definitely have some kind of a interaction in terms of question answers if there is any. So without wasting any more time, let's move ahead, and I will be sharing my screen shortly. Okay, so let me share my screen. Hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the topic that we are going to discuss today is, about generative AI usage and how to use it responsibly for crafting tomorrow or the days to come, where I would like to make one thing very clear right in the beginning, that all the opinions that have been expressed here and all the discussions that are being made from my end are solely my personal, and it has got no relationship whatsoever with my employer, PwC India. So the agenda of today's discussion is to initiate it with the help of a background of generative AI and then business prospects which are there, certain potentials of generative AI, and then followed by the risks which are there, and then how to build the responsible generative AI. And it finishes with the concluding words. As we all know that the human spirit must prevail over technology. This has been said by Albert Einstein, that we are very much obsessed with technology these days, which is good, in fact. And people are so much inclined towards technology, which is bringing in so many features and so many add-ons to our lives as well as to our offerings responsibly, as well as it is also helping us to understand that how to leverage certain amount of things in a resourceful manner towards the betterment of the nation and the society at large. Now, while we are doing this, the human spirit which is there must prevail. Why? Because whenever I'm repeatedly using this word responsibly, if there is a lack of human spirit in the technology, then probably we will not be able to leverage it responsibly. And there comes all the contradictions, confusions, and certain things. So we will discuss more about it as we move ahead. Now, these days, as wherever we see in the media, in the print media, in the audio visual media, or in our discussions, or in our schools, or in our colleges, so there is an emphasis on artificial intelligence. Now, is that a new thing? Artificial intelligence, in your opinion, I mean, Acha Malini, is it allowed for the participants to interact with me whenever they feel so by unmuting them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, okay, now what I'm trying to understand that, let's say, since there is a buzzword of AI these days, and all the schools, colleges, universities, and of course the industries which are here around us, they are all going by this particular thing, which is artificial intelligence. I'm not talking about generative AI at large. Now, my first question is, in the job advertisements or the job market, if you see that if someone is looking for a professional who is having, let's say, 7 to 8 years of experience in artificial intelligence and in generative AI, is it a feasible statement to say that one should have an experience of 7 to 8 years in generative AI for whom we are looking for a particular position of a data scientist or data analyst or whatsoever, or data engineer whatsoever? Now, 7 to 8 years experience in generative AI, is it feasible statement, or is it a feasible statement? Anyone can respond to my question. This is a query. Is it a feasible statement that 7 to 8 years of experience in generative AI? Yes or no? I mean, binary answer I am looking for, whether yes or no. Anyone can respond. Even Malini can respond, or anyone who are participants. Well, if you're writing something, I can't see the screen. You have to tell me that whether this is feasible or not to have 7 to 8 years of experience in this particular generative AI.
So many of them saying yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now, if it is yes, then what is the justification? Can you please tell me what is the justification? Because generative AI, as we all know, this buzzword has been coined, and we can see that it is there for maybe last 2 years or 2.5 years max. So, how it is feasible to have 7 to 8 years of experience in generative AI? Your answer is absolutely correct, but I would like to understand the justification. Anyone is writing anything? Malini, please tell me.
No, sir.
Okay, no problem. The justification is like this. First of all, people who have built generative AI, they haven't built it overnight. That all of us can understand. It's not an overnight task to build a large language model or whatever we say, such a mammoth thing, Chat GPT or Google Gemini and things like that. They haven't been built overnight. So obviously, people were having some kind of expertise or experience. And what was the name of that generative thing which was already there, right? So we are all aware of generative adversarial networks, right? So GANs. So GANs were there for quite some time. It was even 8, 10, 12 years before GANs used to be there. Now, people who are working with GANs or this kind of network, where is a this kind of a generation property is there. Okay, so they are already having the experience since long. Only this generative AI term has been coined now. It's not that the technology is very new. The technology has evolved much earlier, and people were working on this. So many people were working on this. So many research papers are there. You can go and look in any of the repositories. Like, you can go ahead with Google Scholar, you can go ahead with Mendeley, you can go ahead with Scopus, you can go ahead with DBLP. Anywhere you go, you will find there are so many research papers which are already there on this kind of generative adversarial network and variational autoencoders and things like that, which are having latent space. So there, this generative thing is going on for quite some time. It's not that it is something new, just that it has been widely adopted commercially these days. At least people are attempting to do so. And hence we find these names, ChatGPT, DALI, stuffs like this.
பண்ணவே
So
இல்ல
for
மாமி.
example, if you have heard of, I mean, I'm sure you must have heard of NLP, natural language processing, then certain kind of things like summarization. Okay. Like, let's say you were using mobile phones for quite some time now. So now that you are using that mobile phones for quite some time, you must have heard of that whenever there is requirement for texting. So you have seen that the messages, they are already trying to suggest you that what should be the next word, what should be the next phrase, right, in your cell phone and all. These were there much before generative AI terminology has came into picture. So these, what are these are all generation stuffs. These were already present there. It's not that it has something new. But then certain things, of course, which has gained the popularity because of mass usage and adoption, because of this DALI, Chat GPT. So this thing has got so much of popularity. And this is what is the background. This is what is the context, right? So now, generative AI, it refers to a class of an artificial intelligence technique that focus on creating new data samples. So if you are creating a summary, if you are creating next word, what is going to the next word, right? If you are creating a blog out of a picture, then obviously that is some kind of a generation, and that is resembling your given data set, right? So hence, this is how generative AI, from the background of GANs, VAEs, and all these things, have gained, substantial fuel, and currently they are in the market, and they are, of course, being a buzzword and a trend in the market as we see these days. All right. Now, business artifacts that generative AI can generate today. So there are so many things. For example, as you can see, audio, visual, 2D, 3D, faces, bodies, drawing, photographs, you all know, right? So then programming and data assets. So it can also generate codes. It can also have natural language capacities, like you can do question answers with the help of generative AI in to unstructured database to structured database. Now, when I say unstructured database, what do we mean? We mean certain kinds of databases where we are having the data which is not structured, that is in the form of normal natural language that we are speaking right now. Now I can give you an example. So, are you aware of adverse drug reactions? ADRs, adverse drug reactions, are you aware of? So this has been taken, this artifacts has been taken, the source is Gartner, whatever I am showing you now. This Gartner has classified it as artifacts and learning methods, but tell me, are you aware of adverse drug reactions? This is very simple, phrase that I am talking about. This means if you take a drug, at certain cases, it may have some side effects. Like some drugs you may take, and it can have you can have rashes on your skin, or you can feel dizzy, something like that. It is always written, right? The side effects on the drug or on other websites. You must have seen. Yes or no? So these are called adverse drug reactions. Now there is a database where this kind of drugs and their adverse reactions are already been enlisted. All right, these are already been enlisted in those kind of a database. Now what happens that people are going to launch a new drug, or let's say there are certain reactions which are not been proved or experienced in the laboratory while it has been created. So what happens is that they go unnoticed. So when people consume the drugs, people from any sector of the society can consume the drugs. They can have several kinds of side effects which goes unreported. So what will happen? They may be having access to the social media. They may be having access to some common blogging platform or wherever. They do not know that where to report, where to keep it in the storage and stuffs like that. I mean, in the structured database kind of, where to report so that it can be enlisted in the database. They don't know that. So they may write it in some social media, that is unstructured information, right? So they may write it in Facebook. They may write it in LinkedIn, X, or wherever. Uh, Plus Instagram, wherever they can write like that. And okay, when I have taken so and so medicine, it has resulted in so and so kind of let's say, uh, you know, uh, side effects, or I felt like this, or I felt like that, right? So these are different kinds of side effects which one can experience. So when people are experiencing this kind of side effects and writing it in social media, that is not been recorded anywhere. Neither there is a way to identify that whether whatever the people have written in natural language in social media, whether actually they are a side effect or not. All right. So in this kind of situation, whatever solution I have tried to design, so what has happened, that has come out as a research paper, is a public document. It is there in IEEE website. You can see. So it is identifying adverse drug reaction and explaining the causality with the help of generative AI. Now, while I did this back in 2023, early 2023, you can say, at that point of time, generative AI was not that, it was there, but it has not that evolved. So what happened if you say that I'm feeling, I'm having some kind of a feeling after taking some kind of a medicine, that may not be an adverse drug reaction, but if you put that statement to generative AI, what will happen is that generative AI will find out some kind of a explanation for that, which is wrong and misleading, right? So that's what is known as hallucination. So whatever you put, it will come up with some kind of an explanation. So now if you design a system, I was talking about designing responsible system. We design a system like this, where what is happening is that you are finally coming up with a solution which is actually not having the proper context, that which is not a correct answer that it is providing, then this is troublesome, right? So when I designed this research paper or research, what I did was that, or what we did was that, those who were co-authors with me, we primarily we have taken those data sets where these kind of natural language reactions are being reported by people or by certain communities or whosoever. So we have taken that data set, and from that data set, primarily what we did, we classified them, that which one is from a pre-trained model, that which one, let's say, is a adverse reaction, which one is not an adverse reaction. All right. So which one is an adverse reaction and which one is not an adverse reaction was the primary classification. So that is a normal binary classification. Now, whenever something is identified as not an adverse drug reaction, that is not at all forwarded to the generative AI in the first place. So what was happening is that primarily it has been classified that which one is an ADR, which one is not an ADR. If it is classified as an ADR, then only it is being forwarded to the generative AI for explanation, that why do you saying this as an ADR, then the generative AI gives a nice explanation, that is fine. But when it is classified at right in the beginning as non-ADR, then it is never been, in fact, never been forwarded as something which is, let's say, which needs an explanation. All right. So this is how, when you design a system, you need to think and understand, or one needs to think and understand about the capability and about the usefulness of a particular algorithm towards a particular approach. I hope all of us are engineers here, right? So you understand this technical terminologies, whatever I am saying. So this is how, while you design a system, you need to think certain stuffs, right? Till now, whatever I have said, any questions from your end? I will again proceed forward, but before I move ahead, any questions from your end till now, whatever we have discussed, from anybody? You can ask me, no problem. Any question? No question? Okay. All right. Now, as we move ahead, so now introducing your generative AI. So what is generative AI? Whatever I was saying till now. So generative AI is nothing but it is a subset of AI, artificial intelligence, which is a superset. Artificial intelligence is having different types of, let's say, subsets. So under which generative AI is also one, which is a deep learning kind of a technique. And here, as you can see, that it is a subset of deep learning which uses artificial neural network and can process both labeled and unlabeled data using supervised and unsupervised and semi-supervised methods. Okay. So what is supervised? Supervised means something when you are providing an example to the algorithm. All right. So what is, here, if I would like to understand from the audience that what is a supervised learning, anybody who is aware of what is a supervised learning would like to respond to me? What is a supervised learning? Have you been acquainted or aware of machine learning stuff? Have you already gone through that, or you are about to go through that, or it has yet to come in your syllabus? What is it? Can you tell me? Then I will have an idea. Have you already, is it there in your course, artificial intelligence, machine learning? Have you done that, or you are yet to do that?
We are yet to do that, sir, because most of them are from triple backgrounds.
No problem. So let me explain it for you. Whenever we are, let's say, looking for a supervised learning, it is like your classroom. So machine learning and all these stuffs, right? These are all fancy terms. Take it from me. You all are aware of this. It's not that you are not aware of this. It's just that you need to be acquainted with these terminologies. Otherwise, you all know this. What is this? Let me tell you. When you are inside a class, session is going on, your professor is teaching you, and you are listening, to the lectures. There may be certain questions which you are having. You are raising those questions during the lectures or the session, and those questions are being answered by your professor, and everything is like that, and you are learning this. The entire thing, the entire subject and the topic you are learning. That's all right. Now, while you are learning this, you can't expect that exactly the same question in the same language, in the same words, it will come in your examination. It's not like that. What you are trying to do here is that you are trying to learn a pattern in the class, based on which, if a similar kind of question comes, you can recollect it from your learning and can respond back to that question during your examination. So supervised machine learning is just that. You teach the algorithm, you provide the examples, you provide the questions, you provide the answers, everything. From that, it learns the pattern. And then when some unseen data comes, which is the question paper in the examination, it just responds based on the learned pattern from beforehand, right? Is it clear? That is what is supervised learning. Then there is something called unsupervised. Unsupervised means you don't know. You don't know priorly that what is going to come. Based on your familiarity or proximity of knowledge, you can categorize certain things without any prior knowledge. So that is unsupervised. So let's say whenever you are trying to learn a bicycle, okay, that is acquired reflex. You're trying to learn a bicycle without the help of anybody. That is unsupervised learning. Okay, many of us have learned that. I myself has learned that bicycle without the help of anybody. That is unsupervised learning. And yeah, someone is saying something, it seems. Malini, what are some potential? Okay, let me go to the chat. Where is the chat, by the way? Here is the chat. And what are some potential risks associated with leveraging generative AI, and how can they be mitigated? Very good. Okay, I will be responding to this. So now this is what unsupervised is. Semi-supervised means that it is not totally supervised. Okay, there are some samples or some examples having some questions which are having the answers, some questions which don't have the answer. So like that, semi-supervised learning. So in this way, the entire large language model, which is huge, that we see like ChatGPT, like Gemini, all these things have been created, which are having prior knowledge and been trained like this, based on which it can understand the pattern, and whatever questions you ask, it tries to respond back to you. All right. So this is how, that's what I was saying, the potentials of generative AI. It can be used, your generative AI can be used to understand the different sentiment of the different segments of customers, and from different areas like finance, marketing, health, and things like that. And it is also helpful in generating arts. So for example, you would like to generate certain kind of art forms. For example, a dog running on the moon, okay, uh, a person flying in the sky. So you have seen these things, right? So it is able to generate this kind of things. It can able to write articles. It can able to do different kind of automated tasks. So this is how you can leverage the power of generative AI. So you can see that it is boosting a global GDP. The source is Gartner again. So generative AI can boost annual global GDP and things like that. And it is having showing the path towards the productivity growth of 40% of all working hours across all industries, that with the help of your LLMs such as ChatGPT or so. So these are certain things which you can see has been there in the print media. Now, how you can distinguish between a generative model and a predictive model? What is a predictive model? So you can understand that what is a predictive model? A predictive model is something which is doing some kind of a task. Okay, so task means some kind of a discriminative task. So, for example, it is categorizing certain things. Okay, so example, it can be saying it is benign or it is malignant. It is red or it is green. It is blue or it is yellow, like that. Okay, so that is what is a predictive model. So predictive model is something which is having a level. All right, generative AI is not discriminative by nature. It is something which is generative. So that means what? It is trying to generate something. What is it is generating? It is generating certain images, certain videos, certain text in the form of summary, in the form of a blog, in the form of a paragraph, whatsoever. Understood? So this is how you can identify the usage of AI and generative AI. All right. Now, what is the fun here? The fun here is this, as you can see, that ML system, machine learning system, which are non-GenAI system, their outputs are number, discrete things, classes, as I was saying, probabilities, like that. Okay. And GenAI are natural language, image, audio. These are the outputs of generative AI. And these are the outputs of conventional AI, which is a superset. So generative AI will not be, providing this kind of an output. Okay. So based on this explanation of this slide, your immediate question could be that people are asking these days that whatever application you build with the help of generative AI. So for example, if I would like to have a classification like this discrete class as an output, I don't want conventional AI. I would like to have generative AI in it. If I would like to do some calculation, I would like to have generative AI in this. But how this is possible? I have only told a few moments back that generative AI cannot do discriminative tasks. It is only generative tasks. So here comes the concept of agent. So agents are specialized LLMs kinds of scenarios which are exposed to certain tools. Okay. So let's say what happens is that with the help of this tool, it can, let's say, it can order or it can provide a prompt or a command to an algorithm which is discriminative in nature to do these tasks which are non-generative in nature. Okay, so for example, an agent can say a classifier to classify certain things, but the agent is the part of the generative AI. So what the end user is saying, the end user is seeing that it is providing a command in natural language maybe to the entire system, which is being categorized now, and the agent is picking up the natural language command, understanding this and triggering it towards something. Triggering it towards what? Triggering it towards a discriminative system, which is ultimately providing you the desired results along with the explanation from the LLM. So in this way, you can leverage the generative AI model to create discriminative model as well. All right. So as you can see, these are certain use cases for text automation. So here you see that summarization, translation, automated report writing, business model, market sizing, SWOT analysis. So there are so many things, course player performance report and these things. All right. So these are the text automation use cases. So general are question and answers, translation, summarization. All right. Then automated clinical trial reports. So based on the different business challenge, as I have enlisted here, you need to reduce the third party, reduce the time and cost, and then what will happen that the business value will be achieved like this. So
நீ
how
எடுத்துட்டு
much
வந்து நான்
reduction in
பண்ணி
time happens? So
ஓபன்
automated
தேங்க் யூ ஒரு
clinical
பிரச்சனை இல்லை
trial reports means whenever you provide a report and the statistics of the report, based on which generative AI can provide you a human like summary of the entire report, so that it can be understandable from anybody. Here the source is also Gartner. All right, this one also is taken from Gartner, the source. So use cases for image and video automation, as you can see. So there are, different kinds of advertisements you can create with generative AI. There are consumer marketing, channel marketing things you can create with generative AI. You can create video trailers with generative AI. So these are also very much potential use cases of generative AI. Okay. Again, you can see some creative advertisements. As I was saying, in Gartner, it has been clearly mentioned that the ads which are there, which you can reduce the 15% reduction in cost for the acquisition. So you can see how this one is helpful for the business in saving the cost and generating value, increasing the value for the business. Hence, it has got such a huge market size, as you can see, been predicted till 2032. All right, as you can see the figures here, how this is exponentially growing in the generative AI field. So this is how it has, from the traditional programming to neural network to generative AI model, this has happened. That the traditional programming was more of a rule-based kind of a scenario. Then came the neural network automated one, and now generative AI is generating the code for you. So you can see that transition. First is just some rule-based system for the traditional programming. Moving ahead, you are getting something which is kind of neural network model. You provide everything to the neural network model. It will be able to find out that what are the different ways to take out the features and then provide your classification result. But the code is yours. Now that you can instruct the algorithm of generative AI to create the code and make the code act for you. So see how the difference has happened. All right. So here in generative AI, you can see the input type is image and output can be text. So what is this? You can input an image and you can ask the image, categorize the caption the image. Let's say a lady standing with a side bag. So generative AI, when you input the image, will be able to write that this is the image of a lady standing with a side bag, standing with a flower. A person is running, like that. So this is what is image captioning, visual question answering. So there are so many things which you can do, like input the text and you can have translation, summarization, and things like that. So these are certain things which you can create with the help of generative AI. How this is being created? With the help of the tokens. So the tokens are something, as you can see, they learn about the patterns based on the data you provide, and then they predict the upcoming data. Okay, so they are the smallest amount of, let's say, things that can be created as a kind of a token, or as a kind of a unit, smallest unit, in which you can provide or you can represent a data based on the data you provide. Okay, so based on the things learned from the training data, it offers predictions to complete the sentence. So as you can see, this you might have seen many times in Google Bard or ChatGPT or things like that. Now, what is this T in ChatGPT? This T stands for general purpose transformers. What is this transformers? This is all the game changing thing, because all these things have happened due to transformer. Why? Because transformer is something which is providing you with an encoder decoder scenario, just like GANs and all. But then what it is doing is that it is providing local attention. So what was happening is that whenever you provide local attention, what is happening? That it is being able to understand the data more and more efficiently. If you are seeing a data globally, that is overall you are seeing a data, and if you are seeing a data sector wise, I mean an entire sentence you are seeing overall, that this is the entire sentence, or this is one way. Another way is that you are seeing it word by word, you are seeing it, let's say, letter by letter, like that. So that is what is the local attention. So what is transformer is doing? Transformer is doing this local attention kind of things, not serially, but parallelly. And hence the effort and the speed is also much more higher than the previous, let's say, RNN or recurrent neural network based systems, which used to do things serially, right? So that is why the transformers has been so popular, able to build so much of applications in the form of large language models, GPTs, and as you can see here, and hence this is how generative AI has been a game changer. So if you see this video, this is a multimodal which is happening. Are you being able to hear to the commentary which is going on in the video? Can you hear anything? All right. So what is this multimodal? Let me tell you. Multimodal is nothing but where you are having different kinds of input data you can provide, right? So what do you mean by different kinds? Means text. It means text. It can be JSON. It can be PDF. It can be Excel. It can be Word. It can be speech. I mean, the data can be speech. The data can be video. The data can be image. Everything you provide as an input data, and then ask the question to the your generative AI system, and from all the data that you have provided, which is multimodal, means more than one mode, so which can be image, video, text, speech, whatever. From that, it should be able to take out the insight and respond back. That is what is the fun of multimodal. So this is what I am trying to say when I am saying that something which is multimodal. All right. So this is multimodal is now here. You can see GPT-4 is now multimodal, and you can have this facility, right? But saying all these good things about generative AI, one problem is that hallucination. That means it always try to provide you with an answer which is highly fabricated and which is not correct, right? So that's what is known as hallucination. When the model is not trained enough, the data is noisy or the data is dirty or things like that. So hallucination is something, if you write that, as I was saying right in the beginning, that whatever you write for any medicine, whether it is an adverse drug reaction or not, it will provide you with some kind of an explanation. That is what is called hallucination. So now if you think of this context as hallucination, then what is happening is that you need to control this. So these days, there are certain things like guardrails, which are controlling the outputs, that it should not be creating any biased output, any racial comment, any kind of objectionable content. If it is happening like that, guardrails are there to resist that. So you can, or one can design the guardrails so that what the output of the generative AI should be without any this kind of an hallucination for creating controversies can be controlled, right? So that is why, as you can see, the prompting is there. So prompting is nothing but the way you talk with the generative AI model. Many of you must have done prompting by now. So these are the different model types that is present in generative AI. That is text to text model, text to image model. That is, you are writing something and an image is being created. You have heard of latent diffusion, which is popularly known as stable diffusion, right? So there, what you do, you write something and then something is created. What is something? That is, let's say you write that create a you know cat which is wearing a helmet and riding a motorcycle. So it will be drawn in front of you in the form of a picture, right? Then text to video and text to 3D, that is also there, same kind of model characteristics, right? What are the challenges, as Malini was asking? So it can create harmful content and it can distribute. You don't know what kind of data it has been trained upon, so it might have, you know might be there are certain copyright infringement, data privacy violations, sensitive information disclosure, things like that. And there could be certain amount of bias. Okay. So lack of transparency, workforce roles and morale, these can be hampered, and these are the challenges. That is why I talked about the guardrails. That is why I talked about that whenever you train your model, whenever you try to gain some insight out of generative AI, that should be responsible. How that can be ensured? You see the regulations that are there worldwide, like European Union AI Act. These are being built for creating the responsible AI. Then UK AI Act. In India, we are also having like National Strategy of AI. These are open PDF document. You can have it from MITI, right? MEITY. So there you can have it, all these documents like National Strategy for AI, like Approach Document Part 1, Approach Document Part 2, National AI Initiative Act, all these things you should be having knowledge about before you move ahead and join the IT workforce and the industry, so that you are aware that what is correct and what is not correct, and you can make the society around you aware of this fact. The final words are that there is a lot of potential of generative AI, but whenever you think of doing so, for that matter, whether it is generative AI or AI, you should be responsible, you should be aware, and you have to be, uh, you know, some kind of research orientation you need to have if you really would like to work in the IT field. Why? Because if you are thinking of working in an AI field, to an AI engineer, to an AI architect, those problems are usually being forwarded which do not have any conventional solutions. So if you are not research minded, if you are not research oriented, I mean, there is a terminology thinking out of the box. It doesn't happen overnight. To some people who are gifted, it may happen overnight. I do not have an idea because I am not that gifted. So that's why I'm suggesting all of you that if you have a research bent of mind, if you are really looking for answers and applied fields and mechanisms, that how to apply certain things to certain domain, which are, it's not that you are always inventing something new, but which is already existing, and you are trying to applying it in a resourceful way into some other field for some value creation. If you are having this kind of mentality, and that is essential, that when you do in your 4 years degree course or whatever, then you should also indulge yourself in research to find out newer problems, to visit regularly places like Kaggle, Collab, and places like that, to visit the open source data sets, and to make your hands dirty with the data, and to understand the insights, and to be hands on. Then it will be very easier for all of us to provide value added solutions to the society and clients at large responsibly. Thank you very much, and thanks for your patient listening. And now I am open for questions. If you have any, I am ready to answer.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. We have certain questions from the participants in the chat
Ah,
box. May I help you to read those questions, sir?
yeah, please go ahead, one by one.
The first question is from Jasmine. Are
Yeah.
there any specific guidelines or regulations that govern the use of generative AI?
Yes, as I was saying that there is a EU AI Act, European Union AI Act. There are in MITI, Ministry of Information Technology here in India. You will find in a website that there are several guidelines which have been created by India government, which I was just taking the name. You should go ahead and read them and find out that what are the ways to create responsible AIs, and so that you can guide the upcoming startups and things like that. So definitely there are certain rules and regulations by which, for that matter, if you create any AI or any kind of things that you are going to build, then you should provide credit to the original creator. That is point number one. You should not be doing infringement of copyrights or patent tax. Apart from that, you should be building it responsibly and try and find out that whether it is not harming some kind of a sector of the society or people or the sentiments of the people. So that one has to be responsible about, and this kind of knowledge you can gain from the AI acts which are there worldwide, international and nationally.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
The next question is from Sanjana. What measures can be put in place to prevent misuse or abuse of generative AI technology?
See, with message, I don't know what will happen, because you have seen the deep fakes and you have seen the different kinds of voices that are being created. I mean, to clone the voice and to create certain amounts of, uh, let's say, certain amounts of disruptions in the society, and creating some kind of trouble, and some kind of unethical kind of things. So the message creation is very difficult. Why am I saying? Because whosoever is doing this, they mostly, they are not kids. They all are adults and they are doing it knowingly. It is that self-awareness. People has to be responsible. People has to be aware. Those who are from technology or those who are good at technology, they have to be aware as well. Just like the doctors. If the doctors, they know operations, right? But they do not use their skills of operating their patients to murder people. They use it to cure people. Similarly, the engineers, the technocrats must be responsible enough to use this for the betterment of the society, for the upliftment of their country, and not to put the country and the people of the country in a detrimental position, so that it creates certain amount of nuisance and harmful noise worldwide.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Harini. What are some of the key challenges in implementing generative AI solutions and how can they be overcome?
First key challenge in creating generative AI solutions is the expectation of the client, right? That you have to be very, let me be very honest about that, because you need to understand, when the client is telling you to create a generative AI solution, you may find it in the first place that the use case is not about generative AI at all, but the client wants a generative AI solution. That is the first challenge. The second challenge is data. So the data in real life is always dirty, and it is so dirty that you will feel heavier or you will feel lost whenever you look at this kind of a data. So these are the two key challenges, and that's why when a person gets a real exposure, gets so much of skill and experience while they're dealing with convincing the people that what is possible and what is not possible with an AI, with a generative AI, or with a rule-based system. And second is to handle and to play with the data. That how you can accept the data, how you can pre-process the data, how you can create the data, how you can find that, identify the relevant data, and then how you can build the solution. So these are certain key challenges that you have to face. And apart from that, you also need to be a good team player, so that you need to be acceptable in the team and your solutions are also acceptable. So these are certain areas you need to be careful about.
So the final question is from Hari Prasad. Can you provide examples of how generative AI is currently being used in various industries?
So there are so many uses of generative AI in the current industry. So for example, as I was saying, in the advertisement industry, if you see, it has been hugely used to create automated advertisements or blogs. So from images also it can create blogs. Apart from that, if you look at the medical industry, and if it is being used for creating automated reports. If you are looking towards designing industry, it can be used to create, and or it is used in fact to generate designs and things like that. If you look at the academic industry, it is used for guided teaching, it is used for customized course training and things like that. So there are multiple usage which are there in the industry these days, and it is in fact growing day by day. Yes.
Thank you for answering the question, sir. I hope
Thank
that's
you.
the end of the query session. It wasn't really an informative session for us, sir.
Thank you very much. Wish you all the best, and God bless you all. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Now, I'd like to call Ms. Ritika to distribute a gesture of appreciation to our resource person for the week, Dr. Rick Das. Kindly accept the memento as a token of gratitude, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.
And sir, with your permission, can we have a group picture?
Yeah, of course. Please go ahead.
I request all the participants
But
to turn on
but
the camera.
there is one request from my end as well. You need to share with me the group picture.
Yes, sir, sure, sir.
Okay. So participants, please switch on your cameras. Otherwise, what will happen? So many participants have not switched on.
Thank you, sir, for capturing the moment. As we bring the session to a close, let's proceed with vote of thanks. On behalf of the entire ERUDITE team and our student members, I extend our sincere gratitude for your enlightening presentation on generative AI-based use case identification and solutioning. Your insights into leveraging IEEE resource to empower student members in their career pursuits were truly invaluable. Your expertise and passion have undoubtedly ignited inspiration and provided a roadmap for our students to navigate the path towards success. Thank you for your dedication to nurturing the next generation of leaders and for sharing your knowledge with us today. Once again, thank you, sir, for your enlightening presentation and for being an exemplary role model for us all. We look forward to applying the knowledge and insight gained today to drive positive change in our own respective endeavors.
Yeah,
Thank you
that
very
was
much.
great.
Bye bye.
Thanks to the volunteers, IEEE SJCE SB thrives on teamwork and shows in how they divide their tasks efficiently. Ashwin handled the speaker poster and managed to work the content, and Sanchana managed the Zoom meeting and took care of feedback. Emomento and hosting content managed by Malini. Joshin spearheaded pre-event publicity on platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn. Emomento presenting by Rutika. Screenshot documentation by Sahashita. Screen recording done by Hariprasad. While myself and Malini is being the host for this evening. Not to forget, all the SB exponents played a vital role in supporting and promoting this event. On behalf of IEEE SJCE SB, we extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Rick Dasser, our esteemed speaker, and to our advisor, Ms. Jayara Sahib ma'am, and counselor, Mr. Srikant Ramaswamy sir, for their unwavering belief in us. Special thanks to all the SB EXCOM members for their continuous support throughout this journey. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Now the feedback link will be posted in the chat box. Participants are kindly requested to fill out the feedback form before leaving the session to receive your e-certificates. Thank you.
ஏய் இது எப்படி இப்படி ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டா சேவ் ஆயிடுமா? அது என்னன்னு பாரு. ஆஃப் பண்ணதுக்கு நாங்க போய் எல்லாரையும் லிஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டோம்.
Participants are kindly asked to fill out the feedback form before leaving the session. Thank you.
டேய் ஸ்கிரீன் ரெக்கார்ட் ஆஃப் பண்ணுடா.